happening. Okay, so what happened last time we were reading holes? What did you learn yesterday? What was going on? Brooklyn, as always, give us a recap of what's going on, ma'am.
Okay, so Zero and Stanley fell into a hole, and then
oh, you muted yourself. Hold on.
There you go. So the warden, Mr. Sun and Mr. Pendansky didn't know what to do and just stand there. And so Stanley's a lawyer or attorney came. And she tried to get Stanley out, I think. But
so what did the warden accuse Stanley of doing?
Stealing the suitcase, but he didn't.
Stealing the suitcase. Was she telling the truth or was she lying?
Lying.
She was kind of lying, but she was only looking for the suitcase. Was it ever hers to own?
No.
No? All right. And then Brooklyn, yesterday you made a really good observation. So what observation and connection did you make yesterday? You emailed me about it.
So Stanley's lawyer keeps on calling the warden Miss Walker, so maybe the warden's related to Trout Walker.
I know. Did anybody else make that connection when I read that part to you yesterday?
No.
So who is the warden related to?
Trout Walker.
Trout Walker. And who was Trout Walker?
He tried to find the rich guy. Treasure.
Yeah, he was the rich guy who was trying to find the buried treasure, and he liked kissing Kate Barlow, but what did she say to him?
No.
She didn't like him, so he was kind of jealous, right? Ella, question.
Oh, sorry,
Hold on, you got to move closer to the screen.
Spotted lizards and fight them because they damn broke the curse.
You think so?
Maybe.
All right, we'll have to see what happens.
No wonder they're related. They're both greedy.
They're both greedy, right? Okay. So we learned that the warden's related to Miss Walker, the warden's related to Miss Walker. The warden is Miss Walker, who's related to Mr. Trout from the beginning of the story 100 years ago. Then what happened to Zero? Zero was going to get stuck at Camp Green Lake, right?
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Stanley's lawyer.
The files.
Stanley's lawyer said, Hector, you're coming with us. Wait, I think
right. She said that you're coming with us because they couldn't even find his file. So was there any point in keeping him there?
No.
No. Okay, so Zero is finally going with Stanley. And is it kind of a happy ending right now?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Do I have a question before I start reading?
Me.
Go ahead, Angel.
So I think the briefcase, so I think it belongs to Stanley's grandpa.
His great-great-grandfather when he got robbed by kissing Kate Barlow?
Yeah.
It's not it.
We'll have to
thought
see.
too.
You think so too? All right, are y'all ready?
No, it's not
Yes.
What?
I have a question.
What?
Actually, the whole not finding the files is actually also a lie too. If you remember back in the beginning, she actually erased all of the files because he left.
I know, so she kind of messed it up for herself, didn't she?
Yeah.
Oliver, you had a question?
Yes, I don't really get like the end of the year project thing.
I'll show it to you afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so are we ready to read chapter 49 and 50 to figure out what happens and how our story ends?
The final.
The final chapters. All right, I'm going to mute everybody.
Mrs. Navrit,
Yes, Dylan.
when I click on you in participants, it shows chat and request camera control.
Request what?
Request camera control.
Oh, because I turned it off to where we could put things on our cameras.
No.
Okay. All right, so we're going to read
Okay.
chapters 49 through 50. Remember, if you have a question, write it down, okay?
Okay.
All righty, let me see. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. I need to close off chat. Close chat. Manage participants. Mute all. All right, here we go. Chapters 49 through 50, our last two chapters of Holes, okay? We are officially almost through with 4th grade. Yeah, 2 more days after this. All right, chapter 49. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. Chapter 49. There never used to be any yellow spotted lizards in the town of Green Lake. They didn't come to the area until after the lake dried up. But the townsfolk had heard about the red-eyed monsters living in the desert hills. One afternoon, Sam, the Onion Man. So are we in the past or in the future?
Past.
We're in the past right now. Very good. All right, here we go. Sam, the Onion Man, and his donkey, Mary Lou, were returning to his boat, which was anchored just a little offshore. It was late in November, and the peach trees had almost lost most of their leaves. Sam, someone called. He turned around to see 3 men running after him, waving their hats. He waited. Afternoon, Walter, Bo, and Jesse, he greeted them as they walked up, catching their breaths. Glad we caught you, said Bo. We're going rattlesnake hunting in the morning. We want to get some of your lizard juice, said Walter. I ain't no scared of no rattlesnake, said Jesse, but I don't want to come across one of those red-eyed monsters. I seen once before, and that was enough. I knew about those red eyes, of course. I hadn't heard about those black teeth. It's the white tongues that get me, said Bo. Sam gave each man 2 bottles of pure onion juice. He told them to drink 1 bottle before going to bed that night, and then half a bottle in the morning, and then half a bottle around lunchtime. You sure this stuff works? Asked Walter. I tell you what, said Sam. If it doesn't, you can come back next week, and I'll give you your money back. Walter looked around unsure as Bo and Jesse laughed. Then Sam laughed too. Even Mary Lou let out a hee-haw. Just remember, Sam told the men before they left, it's very important that you drink a bottle tonight. You got to get it into your bloodstream. Those lizards don't like onion blood. Stanley and Zero sat in the back seat of Miss Marengo's BMW. The suitcase lay between them. It was locked, and they decided they'd let Stanley's father try to pry it open at his workshop. You don't know what's in it, do you? She asked. No, said Stanley. I didn't think so. The air conditioning was on, but they drove with the windows open as well because, no offense, but you boys smell really bad. Miss Marengo explained that she was a patent attorney. I'm helping your father with the new product he's invented. He happened to mention your situation, so I did a little investigating. Clyde Livingston's sneakers were stole sometime before 3:15. I found a young man, Derek Dunning, who said that at 3:20 you were in the bathrooms fishing your notebook out of a toilet. 2 girls remember seeing you come out of the boys' restroom carrying a wet notebook. Stanley felt his ears redden. Even after everything he'd been through, the memory still caused him to feel shame. So you couldn't have stolen them, said Miss Marengo. He didn't. I did, said Zero. You did what? Asked Miss Marengo. I stole the sneakers. The lawyer actually turned around while driving and looked at him. I didn't hear that, she said, and I advise you to make sure I don't hear it again. She opened her briefcase. What did my father invent? Stanley asked. Did he find a way to recycle old sneakers? No, he's still working on that, explained Miss Marengo. But he invented a product that eliminates foot odor. Here, I've got a sample in my briefcase. I wish you guys had more. You two could bathe in it. She opened her suitcase with one hand and passed a small bottle back to Stanley. It had a fresh and somewhat spicy smell. He handed it to Zero. What's it called? Stanley asked. We haven't come up with a name yet, said Miss Marengo. It smells familiar, said Zero. Peaches, right? Said Miss Marengo. That's what everyone says. A short while later, both boys fell asleep. Behind them, the sky had turned dark, and for the first time in 100 years, a raindrop fell into the empty lake. Part 3, Filling in the Holes. Chapter 50. Stanley's mother insisted that there was never a curse. She even doubts whether Stanley's great-great-grandfather really stole a pig. The reader might find it interesting, however, that Stanley's father invented his foot cure for odor the day after the great-great-grandson of Elia Yelnats carried the great-great-great-grandson of Madame Zeroni up the mountain. The Attorney General closed Camp Green Lake. Miss Walker, who was in desperate need of money, had to sell the land which had been in her family for generations. It was bought by a national organization dedicated to the well-being of young girls. In a few years, Camp Green Lake would become a Girl Scouts camp. This was pretty much the end of the story. The reader probably still has some questions, but unfortunately, from here on in, the answers tend to be long and tedious. While Miss Bell, Stanley's former math teacher, might want to know the percentage of change in Stanley's body weight, the reader probably cares more about the change in Stanley's character and self-confidence. But those changes are subtle and hard to measure. There is no simple answer. Even the contents of the suitcase turned out to be somewhat tedious. Stanley's father pried it open in his workshop, and at first, everyone gasped at the sparkling jewels. Stanley thought that he and Hector had become millionaires, but the jewels were of poor quality, not much more worth than $20,000. Underneath the jewels was a stack of papers that had once belonged to the first Stanley Yelnats. These consisted of stock certificates, deeds of trust, and promissory notes. They were hard to read and even more difficult to understand. Miss Marengo's law firm spent more than 2 months going through all the papers. They turned out to be worth a lot more valuable than jewels. After legal fees and taxes, Stanley and Zero each received less than $1 million, but not too much less. It was enough for Stanley to buy his family a new house with a laboratory in the basement and for Hector to hire a team of private investigators. But it would have been boring to go through all of that tedious detail of changes in their lives. Instead, the reader will be presented with one last scene, which took place almost a year and a half after Stanley and Hector left Camp Green Lake. You will have to fill in the holes yourself. There was a small party at the Yelnats house. Except for Stanley and Hector, everyone else was an adult. All kinds of snacks and drinks were set out on the counter, including caviar, champagne, and the fixings to make an ice cream sundae. The Super Bowl was on television, but nobody was really watching. It should be coming on next break, said Miss Marengo announced. A timeout was called in the football game, and a commercial came onto the screen. Everyone stopped talking and watched. The commercial showed a baseball player. Amid a cloud of dust, Clyde Livingston slid into home plate as the catcher caught the ball and tried to tag him out. "Safe!" shouted the umpire as he signaled with his arms. The people at Stanley's house cheered as if the run really had happened. Clyde Livingston got up and dusted the dirt off his uniform. As he made his way back to the dugout, he spoke to the camera. Hi, I'm Clyde Livingston, but everyone here calls me Sweet Feet. Way to go, Sweet Feet, said another baseball player, slapping his hand. Besides being on the television screen, Clyde Livingston was also sitting on the couch next to Stanley. But my feet weren't always sweet, the television Clyde Livingston said as he sat down in the dugout bench. They used to smell so bad that nobody would sit near me in the dugout. They really did stink, said the woman sitting on the couch on the other side of Clyde. She held her nose with one hand and fanned with the other. Clyde shushed her. Then a teammate told me about sploosh, said the television Clyde. He pulled a can of sploosh out from under the dugout bench and held it up for everyone to see. I just spray a little on my foot each morning, and now I really do have sweet feet. Plus, I like the tingle. Sploosh, said a voice. A treat for your feet? Made from all natural ingredients, it neutralizes odor-causing fungi and bacteria. Plus, you'll like the tingle. Everyone at the party clapped their hands. He wasn't lying, the woman said, who sat next to Clyde. I couldn't even be in the same room as his socks. The other people at the party laughed. The woman continued, I'm not joking. It was so bad. You've made your point, said Clyde, covering her mouth with his hand. He looked back at Stanley. Will you do me a favor, Stanley? Stanley raised and lowered one shoulder. I'm going to go get more caviar, said Clyde. Can you keep your hand over my wife's mouth? He patted Stanley on the shoulder as he rose from the couch. Stanley looked uncertainly at his hand and then at Miss Clyde Livingston. She winked at him. He felt himself blush and turned away towards Hector, who was sitting on the floor in front of an overstuffed chair. A woman sitting in the chair behind Hector was absently-mindedly fluffing his hair with her fingers. She wasn't very old, but her skin had a weathered look to it, almost like leather. Her eyes seemed weary, as if she'd seen too many things in her life that she didn't want to see. And when she smiled, her mouth seemed too big for her face. Very softly, she half sang, half hummed a song that her grandmother used to sing to her when she was a little girl. If only, the moon speaks no reply, reflecting the sun and all that is gone by. Be strong, my weary wolf, turn around boldly, fly high, my baby bird, my angel, my own. And that's it! That's the end!
Yay!
That was so good.
That is so good, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what we learned. So what was lizard juice? Anybody catch what was lizard juice? Raise your hand if you caught it. What was lizard juice? Ella. It was made out of onions, okay? So lizard juice was made out of onions. And what do yellow-spotted lizards not like, apparently?
Onion blood.
They don't like onion blood. And then so what were Stanley and Zero eating for the entire week before they returned back to Camp Green Lake?
Onions.
So why didn't the yellow-spotted lizards bite them?
Because they were because they had onion blood.
Because they had onion blood and they smelled like onions. And do yellow-spotted lizards like onions? No. So do you understand how they didn't get bitten from that?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Okay. So what happened at the end of chapter 49 that hadn't happened for over 100 years at Camp Green Lake? What happened? Who remembers?
It rained.
It
rained for the
rained.
first
It
time.
rained. It hadn't rained in 100 years at Camp Green Lake, and now it finally rained. Now,
Because Stanley broke the curse.
yes, because Stanley broke the
Curse.
curse. Very
Adam's
good.
around.
Stanley broke the curse.
Maybe
Very
actually-
good.
No rain.
Okay. So what broke the curse? What did Stanley do that broke the curse?
Carried Hector up the.
Carry Zero.
He carried Zero
Up the
up the mountain. Who was Zero related to?
Madam Zeroni.
Madam Zeroni. And who was Stanley related to?
Elio.
Elia Yelnats. Okay, so did he technically break the family curse by fulfilling Madam Zeroni's promise?
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Okay, so what did Mr. Sir call Camp Green Lake throughout the story? What did he used to tell the campers? This isn't a
Girl Scout.
Girl Scouts camp. Now, what is Camp Green Lake turning into?
Girl Scout camp.
Girl Scout camp. Very good. He's turning into a Girl Scout camp.
How ironic.
How ironic. I know. Okay. What was in the suitcase, guys?
Money.
And then papers.
Pieces of paper and jewels. Now, which one had more money? Was it the jewels worth more money, or were the pieces of paper worth more money?
Pieces of paper.
The pieces of paper, because they had like stocks, they had bonds, like all this money that kind of was saved over time. And how much did the boys end up with then, pretty much?
Like $20,000.
That was just from the jewels. What else did they get? They got a little less than $1 million, but only a little bit less. Okay?
Hey, Riley.
What was Stanley's dad's invention called?
Blue.
Sploos. And who came up with the name for Sploos?
Zero.
Zero. And what was it made out of?
Peaches.
Peaches. And whose peaches were those, maybe?
The Onion Man.
Kissing K.
Barlow.
Barlow. Very good. Very good. Okay. Awesome. All right. Why did our chat just pick up all over again? I don't understand this when I said don't do anything in there unless you have questions. Come on, guys. Stop. All right. So we are done with holes.
Why?
Because that's all the book is. So now, on Friday at 10 a.m., we are going to watch the movie Holes together on our computers, okay?
I'm excited.
Okay?
The only thing I wish is that there were like 53 chapters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay? So tomorrow, what you're going to be doing for me is you're going to have some social studies questions about the space program to answer. Those are not going to be, you're going to read some things on Social Studies Weekly, but you're not going to answer questions on Social Studies Weekly. I'm going to have the questions inside the daily checklist email. Does everybody understand?
Okay.
Okay, so you'll only have to answer the questions that are inside the daily email. And you're going to have one IXL from me, and that's all you're going to have tomorrow, okay? And then Friday, you're going to have the Holes movie and just to finish up your end of year project, okay?
That's easy.
Does anybody have questions for me and what this week is going to kind of look like?
Probably not.
Who's presenting for Mr. Smith tomorrow for the creative career? I'm going to be on that one. I'm excited. So I see Gabby's going to present, Brooklyn, Zofia, Ella, Beckham, Dylan.
Well,
Great. Okay, I'm excited to see y'all's presentations. That's awesome.
I'm a little nervous, that's why.
You'll be good. You'll be great. You'll be fantastic. Ella, do you have a question?
On the weekly checklist, there's specials, and for tomorrow there's I am present specials. There's I am present and specials in our
Yes.
PowerPoint.
Yes. Thank you.
I didn't finish mine
Yes.
yet.
So excited.
I have to go to the doctor
All right,
during
Abby, question. Hold on, you're muted. Here, let me unmute you.
Okay.
There you go.
For the PowerPoint thing, how are we going to be able to show it when we're on the computer?
That is going to be a question for Mr. Smith. Make sure you email him that today, okay? Okay. Any other questions? If you have questions about the end of year project for me today, for the PowerPoint I sent you, just hang on for just a second and I'll explain it to you, okay?
I have the answer for the presentation, how to show it.
For Mr. for Mr.
Just
Smith?
screen share.
Yeah, what I'm thinking, Gabby, is he's gonna let you screen share your PowerPoint and you'll just talk over it.
Yeah, he is. He sent it in the email.
Oh, okay, so there you go. Yeah, you'll screen share and then you'll just kind of talk over your PowerPoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand it.
Okay.
I even created my own PowerPoint for it.
Nice. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Me.
Who's me? Oh, Jameson, I see your hand up. Hold on. Go ahead, sir. Nice haircut, by the way. I really like it.
Thank you. I just wanted you to unmute me because I was muted the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to have you muted. My bad. All right. Any other questions?
Me, which is Angel.
Oh, Angel, go ahead.
Do we have to be in the meeting for Thursday for
the presentations?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Email Mr. Smith and ask.
Okay.
Okay. Email Mr. Smith and ask. Ella.
I don't know how to screen share.
You don't know how to screen share?
So you go to the little bottom green arrow.
Email Mr. Smith and make sure you ask him how you screen share, okay?
It's the bottom of here. So you go here.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of your console. If you go down to the very bottom of your screen, Ella, you'll see chat, screen share, all that other kind of stuff. That's how you screen share. Got it?
Miss Navarrete.
Yes, Brooklyn.
For the end of year memory book, I tried to like do my own PowerPoint about it, but like once you said like have to like fill in the questions you sent. Like
yeah, so I'm gonna show you how to do it right now.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? No? All right, well, I will see you guys tomorrow then. If you don't have questions, if you have questions about the end of year book, stay on here because I will show you how to do it. I guess I'm gonna have to turn this chat off because we can't seem to get it under control. So I guess I will close that for Friday since we can't seem to use it correctly. Okay? All right, if you don't have questions about the end of year project or any other questions for me, you are free to log off. I hope you guys enjoyed Holes, and we're gonna watch the movie on Friday.
Miss Navarrete.
Yes.
So all the belts are these orders: white, yellow, orange, green, purple, blue, SR, brown, SR, red, junior, black, and then black.
Woo! That's a lot of belts to achieve. You got it, Angel. You got it.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye. See you guys later.
Wait, Riley. Spider-Man.
Beckham, you logged in late today, so make sure you go back and you listen to the recording when I post it, okay, buddy?
Beckham.